So welcome back guys. This is the fourth question of the June long challenge division 2, the Tom and Jerry game. So in this we are given we are given in the input a value of TS, Tom's strength, and we have to find number of possible values of JS, that is Jerry's strength, to win the game. है ना? So if there's there are four conditions. If both of them are even, like if TS and JS both are even, their value will get divided by 2 and the game will proceed to the next turn. If both of them become odd at some point of time, a tie will be declared and the game will end. If one of them is even, so the person with even strength will win the game. Now we have to find maximum number of values of initial JS such that there is no tie and Jerry wins the game. Also, this condition must be satisfied. Now see, for this question, for example, let's assume that we are given TS equals to 12. Now if we are given TS equals to 12, what we can do is we can write it as 2 to the power 2 into 3 to the power 1. So our first step is finding how many 2's are there in this given value of TS. Once we have found out that, so our answer is 2. Okay? Now we have to keep JS such that it is always even, like the final value should be even. So if we have JS as 2 to the power 1, now what will happen is that since they both are even right now, so they'll both get divided by 2 and the final product here would be 6 and here would be 1. So TS would win the game. So we do not want that. So instead of that, what we'll do is we'll take 2 to the power 3. Now if we take 2 to the power 3, what will happen is that finally this will become 3 and this would become 2. So since now JS is even and TS is odd, so JS wins the game. Now realize this, that we have to find number of values. So number of values would be all the values of this and its multiple which are less than equal to 12. So our answer would be 12, that is the input of TS, upon 2 to the power number of values. If I denote the number of values by C in TS, C plus 1. So first find C. If C equals to 2, then our answer would be 12 upon 2 to the power C plus 1. This would be our final answer. Use fast exponentiation instead of the normal power function because 10 ki power 18 is the constraint for the problem, as you can see. So there might be a possibility that you will get a TLE or maybe something like that. So if you do not use that, you will get only 20 points. If you want to score full 100 points, you need to use fast exponentiation for that. Hi guys, this is the June long challenge guessing games problem. This is an interactive problem. So first of all, see, in this question, Alice has a hidden integer x and Bob only knows an integer n, that is the upper bound of his queries, and he needs to ask Alice queries for numbers and Alice will answer whether the number is greater than, less than or equal to the number asked by Bob. As soon as we get the number equal to E, matlab we get the query answer as E, we need to terminate the program. Otherwise we need to continue. Also, the interesting part is Alice can lie sometimes, but she cannot lie 2 times consecutively in a row. So also when she has to answer E, like when the found number and the hidden number is both the same, then also she cannot lie. So basically what we have to do in the question is that first I'll tell you a normal approach to understand the question better, and then I'll tell you an optimized approach for 100 points. See, first of all, what you can do is you can divide the array into 4 parts, and in the worst as well as the best case, you can eliminate 1/4 of the area using 2 queries. See, this is the basic approach, like n by 4, n by 2 and 3n by 4. So what I'm saying is you ask for n by 2, okay, and then if you get an answer of G, for example, you get G as the answer. If you get E, that is fine, you can terminate using exit 0. But if you get G, for example, so what you can do is, instead of going in this second half, you can go here. Okay, go here and ask the query again for n by 4 using, like, you can use a kind of a binary search. So ask for n by 4. If you still get G, that means you know that either of them is right or both of them is right. So if according to this your answer should be here, and according to this your answer should be here. So if in the worst case, if I assume that okay, this is right, so according to this will never be the answer, and according to this also, this will never be the answer. So the common part, this it can be rejected in one go. So basically you can eliminate 1/4 of the area for every query, every 2 queries you ask, right? Now let's assume that here instead of this your answer would have been, let's say, L. So if you have got L here, what you can do is, according to this your answer is greater than like n by 2, and according to L your answer is here. So what you can do is, in this case, this is the area which can be rejected, this full area from n by 4 to n by 2. So in this case also you are rejecting half of the, like 1/4 of the area, total area. So this is the worst case. In the worst case also you are rejecting 1/4 of the area, and the best case also you are doing the same. Now I'll be telling you a better approach, a bit better, like kind of the same approach but a bit better one. Instead of like, see, now I have divided the array into 3 parts instead of 4. So first of all you will ask for the n by 2. The approach is common. First of all you will ask for n by 2. Once you get your answer for n by 2, if you get greater, you go in this half, like the first half, and if you get L, you go in the second half, just the opposite, right? Now let's assume here you ask for n by 4 again. If you get for n by 4 also G, that means, okay, in that case what we were doing is you were asking for n by 4. Now in this case you ask for n by 3 instead. If for n by 3 also if we get G, that means this particular area from 0 to n by 3 is fully rejected. That means this is cut out. If you get less, so that means this particular area, this n by 6 area, like from n by 3 to n by 2, n by 2. So this particular area is rejected if the worst case comes, like you get answer G from here and L from here, and similarly for the second half. So in the previous, what we were doing is, in the previous approach what we were doing is, in the worst case also we were like cutting off 25% of the area, right? And for the best case also we were doing the same thing, 25%. Now in this case, this was the previous approach. Now in the better approach, what we are doing is, we are for the worst case we are removing 1/6 of the area, but at the same time for the best case, instead of 1 by 4 we are removing 1/3, which is quite a significant change. So this approach is an approach for 100 points, and you can, for further code, first try and code it yourself. If you don't still get the code, see the link in the description below. Thank you. So the third question of the June long challenge, chef and ice cream. So in this question it is given that in Chefland there are only 3 type of coins, namely 5, 10 and 15, and we know that an ice cream costs ₹5, and each person wants to buy exactly 1 ice cream. So what we are given is, we are given a queue of n people, and we are given which person has which type of coin with him, 5, 10 or 15. So what we have to do is, we have to tell whether chef can serve all the customers without any problem or not? So answer is yes or no. So the first assumption that we are given in this question is that the chef initially has no money. So initially we have to assume that he has no money. So keeping this in mind, we know that the first person which is coming to chef, that person should always get a rupees 5 coin, not a 10 or a 15, because chef will have nothing to give him as a change back. So after we have checked this, we'll iterate over all the other elements of the array or which we are given, and we'll find whether it is possible or not to serve all the people. So given an array, first of all it is compulsory that the first person should have a 5 rupee coin. Once this is assured, what we'll do is, by iterating on the other elements, we can keep an array of 3 elements, like count array. In this, the first one denotes 5 rupee coin, the second one denotes 10 rupee coin, the third one denotes 15 rupee coin, sorry. So when the first customer comes, we do plus here, plus 1, okay. Now if the second customer comes with a 10 rupee coin, we need to check in this particular element of 5, because we need a change of 5. So if this is greater than equal to 1, we'll reduce its count by 1 and we'll make it 0 again, and we'll say that yes, the chef was able to serve him. Also we'll do plus here, so plus 1 here. Now if suppose the next person comes with a 5 rupee coin, then we'll again do plus 1 in the 5 column. So now if the second person comes with a 15 rupee coin, so what we'll be doing is, we'll be doing plus 1 here. Now for 15, we need a 10 rupee change or 2 5 rupee coins. So here we have a 10 rupee change. Now let's assume after this a person comes with a 5 rupee coin, and then a person again comes with a 15 rupee coin. So see, now the condition would be, here our answer would be 0, because 110 was gone into giving the change for 15. So here our answer is 0. Here our answer is now plus 2, and here our answer is also plus 2. So since you can give 2 5 rupees coin as a change for the 15, so you will be giving 2 5 rupees coin to this person and reducing this count to 0 again. So mind one thing, that always firstly for 15, for 10 it is very easy, for 5 and 10 it is very easy. For 10 you need a 5 rupee coin, and for 5 you need nothing. Just for 15, first you'll check for the 10 element, because 10 can only be given away for 15, not for anything else, and 5 is also used for 10. So we'll prefer that we give the 10 rupees coin first, and if we don't have a 10 rupee coin, we'll try and find out if we have 2 5 rupees coin or not. If we don't have it, then we'll say that it is not possible to serve the elements, to serve the people, and if we have it, we'll reduce the count and proceed further. So it is a simple question of implementation. See you in the next one. Thank you. The second question of the June long challenge, division 2, chef and string. So in this question, I am given a string S of length n, and the string consists of X and Y, that is girl and a boy. So we just have to form the maximum number of pairs such that a pair should consist of X and Y, and X and Y should be adjacent to each other. So for this is a very simple question, so I'll be explaining the algorithm for the second test case, XY, XXY. So the algorithm goes as follows. You just have to iterate over the string. So for I equals to 0 to I less than string s dot length minus 1, not till s dot length, because I'll be telling you the reason. We'll be comparing s of I and s of I plus 1. if they are x and y or y and x, we'll be taking this pair as an answer. So we'll do answer plus plus as well as I plus plus, because once this y is taken, it will not be available for the next x. If you do not do I plus plus, what will happen is it will check for this y also. So instead of one pair, this will be counting two pairs for one single y, which will be wrong. So do I plus plus as well for answer plus plus. So the COVID sampling challenge problem of the June long challenge division 2. So in this problem, what we are asked is, we are given a matrix of n cross n in which there are n square people and each person is either affected or not. If he is affected, then the matrix has value 1, and if it is not affected, then the matrix should have value 0. So we have to basically ask some queries to the grader and find a matrix out of it. Since this is a challenge problem, so I'll be just telling you a basic approach and then you can refine it for yourself. So the basic approach is, the very basic approach at the least is, see, the interesting part of the question is, you are like how to interact with the problem. 1, R1, C1, R2 and C2. These 5 numbers should be printed each time to interact. So the very basic approach is, you can directly print for each and every, like you can iterate over all the elements and ask for each and every element. Like you can ask for the first element, you are getting 0, then store it as 0. Then you are getting 0, store it as 0, getting 1, and so on and so forth. So this is just a basic approach and a very easy one as well. So you can just iterate over all the elements, print all the R1, C1, R2, C2 values, and go on about it. Now, if you have to optimize it a bit, what you can do is, you can see, I have declared a 2D vector globally, which is my answer, and n and x as well. So first of all, I'll be reading the test cases. Once I have the test cases with me, I'll be clearing the vector as to so that I can avoid any garbage value and all. After that, I'll be taking the input and I'll be printing for the full matrix. Like I'll be asking a query for all n square elements. If I get x is equals to n square, that means all the people are affected. So in that case, this is a corner case, so we can directly print the elements and we can just see out 2, like we can print 2 and we can print all the elements as 1, and we can put a continue so that this test case can be continued. Now if we have 0, just the opposite case, so all are 0. If we have -1, we can terminate. Now if these 3 conditions are not there, what I'll be doing is, I'll be calling this function which I have made, and from this function I'll obtain an answer which I'll be printing here, and this is it. So function, how do we call the function? See, I have called this function for R1, C1, R2, C2 because these 4 parameters need to be printed. Now if R1 equals to C1 and C1 equals to C2, R1 equals to R2 and C1 equals to C2, that means this is the base case, right? Means you have basically come at one particular element. My approach is dividing this square submatrix into 4 parts and recursively asking for each and every part. So I've defined like if you write it down, you'll realize that these will be the 4 coordinates of the top left and bottom right of each of the 4 squares. So first of all, this will be the coordinate R1, C1, R1 plus n, where n is R2 minus R1 by 2, and C1 plus n. So basically this, then this, then this, and then this. So these 4, and these are the recursive calls. Like if x greater than 0, so these are the recursive calls for these 4 functions. So you just have to divide the R1, C1, R2, C2 square, big square, into 4 smaller parts and recursively ask for each part. So this is a recursive code, and you can code it pretty easily by just finding out the coordinates of the top left as well as the bottom right ends of the squares, like all the 4 sub squares of this big square matrix. So I think this should do, and thank you for this. This is the 5th question of the June long challenge division 2, even matrix. The question goes as follows. You are given a matrix M of size n cross n, which has n rows and n columns, and the matrix should follow 3 properties. The properties are that firstly, all the numbers should be pairwise distinct in Simpler words, all the numbers should be distinct. And also, since all the numbers are distinct and the size of the matrix is n square, so it should contain of all the elements from 1 to n square inclusive. Also, the main property that the matrix should follow is that if you take any two elements on either of the diagonals, like there are two diagonals in a matrix, so if you take either of the diagonal and take any of two elements, their sum should always be even. So think like this: if you are given a 3x3 matrix and let's say a 4x4 matrix, so we know that sum of two odd numbers is even, sum of two even numbers is even, and sum of even plus odd is odd. So these three properties would help us do this question. So realize this, that I want all these three elements, if I take any of the two elements out of these three or these three, they both should be like their sum should be even. So if I keep here all the odd elements, I know that two odd elements will always give me an even element. So I'll keep here 1, I'll keep here let's say 3, and I'll keep here let's say 5. And if I want to keep here also, I can keep here 7 and I can keep here 9. Now you can think it in this way: if I want to code it a bit better, in a bit better way, so what I can do is, instead of keeping 3 here and following this order, what I can do is I can follow a fixed order. Like I can say, okay, 3 is here, then 2 is here, then 4 is here, then 5 is here, then 6, then 7, then 8, and then 9. So my condition for this diagonal as well as for this diagonal is satisfied. If I take 1 plus 5, it is 6, 1 plus 9, it is 10, 7 plus 5 is 12, 7 plus 3 is 10. So this condition is satisfied. All the elements are distinct also, and also like we are done. So this is a delicious matrix for 3x3, that is odd. Now if we come for the even one, if we do the same approach for the even one, realize that this would be the problem. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So realize that the problem would be here. If I take 1 plus 6, this is the diagonal, this is the diagonal, and this is the diagonal. So if I take 1 plus 6 or 4 plus 7, they are odd. So basically I here also want that all the odd elements should come on the diagonals and the rest of the elements should come on the other part of the matrix. So instead of this, what I'll be doing is I'll be following just I'll be doing just a short change. I'll be keeping 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now if we say that on this diagonal, if I keep all the even elements, so see what will happen is, if I keep here 9, 10, we are making kind of a spiral matrix if you realize this. 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So see, now we have all the conditions satisfied. On this diagonal we have even elements, so any two elements we pick up, since even plus even is even, so we get the sum as even. On this diagonal we have all the odd elements, so as I told you for this matrix, that if you take two odd elements, your sum would be even. So you can see for this also, and also all the elements are taken, and this matrix is also easy to print, because see, it is a spiral way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15, 16. So you can easily go about it. So there will be two cases, for odd and for even. So this is it. Thank you for seeing. See you in the next one.